and G-Dots, we gotta keep the book stacked. We doing time in the hole, yeah, we can't come back. Back against the wall, CL20's knocking raid. IGI's tripping, validated, shoot ready. Brown incarceration, got my people living daily. Gang wars back to back till the hole is where they send me. Back against the wall, CL20's knocking raid. IGI's tripping, validated, shoot ready.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Well, before I get into this subject that somebody talked to me about recently, just know that if you provided me with content, a story to tell, an article to go over, and I haven't done it yet, you know, I'm behind. Trust me, I'm behind. But I get to it every day when I come home from work. I meal prep, I do my little workout, and then I get to the articles, you know, going way back, and I just try to catch up as much as possible. So my apologies in advance for those who felt like, you know, I ignored them or not. Dude, I got a prison riot story that's deep, detailed, crazy. The biggest prison riot in California. And I haven't even told that one yet, and it's been like 4 months, so I got to get to that one too. So let's get into this one. I was talking to somebody recently. I'm not going to put his information out there or his business, other than he asked me, because he got placed on freeze by the Norteño program, and he wanted to know what was going to transpire. Then he asked me, hey, can a Norteño get removed on freeze? And I explained the answer. So I thought about doing a video about it. See, there's two different ways. One, you have the new arrival procedures. So when you're a new arrival, you're going to be on freeze approximately 30 days. In those 30 days, the Norteño program, the household, is going to contact the prison you were at and any other facilities that has a BNL list to see if your name's present. The BNL list is the bad news list. Then you have the NGN list, which is no good Norteños, which my name would be on. Then you have another one that's specifically NF dropouts, new flowers, high-ranking targets that they wanted to prioritize and, you know, take their life. So you're going to get screened like that. You're going to receive a 5-on-5 questionnaire. The 5-on-5 is who you are, what you're in for, where you're from, why'd you get arrested, what are your convictions. Just a quick 5-on-5. Your video. Then if they're in contact with the street regimen, they're going to ask the street regimen about you if there's any investigations pending on you. Do you put in work? Are you a dedicated fellow soldado? You name it. They're going to do all this background check within the 30 days. And while you're on freeze as a new arrival, they're pretty much going to watch your conduct. They're going to see how you conduct yourself, how you program. Are you slipping in any areas? And then you're going to receive another questionnaire. It's the NA application. It's going to have maybe, they vary, but it's like 25 questions. What positions have you held? Where did you hold them at? What facilities have you been in? Can you provide your 128G to verify what prisons you've been at? You know, what Norteños were you there? And the prisons that you were at, what Norteños were you there with? So they can verify whether it's true or not, whether you were on that yard or not. Because people are going to know. If you say you're in Soledad Level 3, people there are in contact with people in Soledad Level 3, and they're going to, oh, you know him, you didn't know him? Well, we're going to see, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You don't know nobody that we pointed out. Stuff like that. They're going to ask you, what's your level of education? You willing to hold a weapon? Have you ever held a weapon? What kind of weaponry and training do you have? What kind of COC training do you have? They're going to ask you a bunch of questions to get an idea of who they're welcoming into their program. When that 30 days is up and you cleared everything, then you're programming. That's a first freeze. The other freeze is when you're pending an investigation. Now, the procedure for putting somebody on freeze, that's the best element of surprise that the Norteño program has developed to make sure that you're off guard. So say you cause an infraction, or somebody from another facility reported you, or the street regimen is a pending investigation on red crime, you know, doing stuff with minors. You burn somebody, you rob somebody. Whatever the investigation is that they decided that it's necessary, that they need to put you on freeze till further notice, that's a clear indication that they don't know whether or not you're fit for the program, and they don't know whether or not you're suitable for the program. Therefore, putting you on freeze reduces any chances of you rebelling, resisting, and most importantly, attacking any Norteño, any CLC command, because that's what the CLC command is designed for. They want to be protected. So Usually when people are falling from grace, some of them go out with a bang. I've seen it plenty of times. Well, they'll go hit a high-ranking member in the COC or hit an NSO on the yard to get him off the yard as they're on the way out the door going to the SNYs. I've seen it plenty of times. And I talked to people on the SNY that done it before. Soldier Boy was one of them. So when doing so, you will never be notified as a Norteño that you're going to be put on freeze or you're pending investigation. Once they realize, the household, the Norteño program realizes that they have to conduct an investigation on you on some facts that was presented by another facility, the street regimen, the NF, the shoes at the time, the household would be notified of what they need to conduct and what questions they need to ask and what information they need to gather, and send it either to the big homies or send it to the facility that's investigating this individual, or for their own personal decision making. Then they'll alert only the squad department. They'll advise the COC that it's going to happen, but sometimes they can't do that because some COC members might have close ties to the person that's being placed under investigation and might give them a heads up. And that heads up usually turns out pretty bad for the person giving the heads up and the person that's getting the heads up, because he might just say, you know what, I'm under investigation. People panic. So what they'll do is they'll notify the squad department, the squad leader, and say, man, I need 2 squad members. Walk up to his door when the door's open and just frisk him. He can't come out of his cell until he's frisked. I've been in prisons where you will get stopped at that door with 2 SBs. Those are called security blankets. And those individuals are both going to have bangers or razors. So it's going to be 2 individuals that are willing to use a weapon and blast you at any given moment, as soon as they get the signal, as soon as you pose an immediate threat or a potential threat. Potential. Meaning that they have to decide whether or not what you did justifies them slicing you up, slicing your neck, or putting wounds in your body if they felt threatened and they perceived it as a threat. That's a big risk for SBs, for security blankets. So what they're going to do is they're going to stop you at the door, and they're going to make you hand over your clothes. And they're going to frisk your clothes because it's easy to hide stuff like in the seams of your shirts, the bottom of your seams, around your neck. You can hide blades there. You can hide weapons anywhere, in the armpits. So they're going to frisk your clothes, and they're going to strip you down like if you were going to yard and the cop was frisking you butt naked. Butt naked. I've seen them do it all the way to the homies' boxers, and the homies had to pull their boxers down a little bit because there's certain areas in the boxers, in the prison boxers, where you can hide weapons and stash weapons as well. And it's also to see if you're hiding drugs, hiding canas, because some people hide canas that they're going to turn into the cops of information that they gathered. You know, it's a very, very devious procedure and devious program on how people treat one another. But that just goes to show you the distrust that's in the Norteño program, because, you know, sometimes they look at people that are being investigated like, man, they're primary targets. It could be any moment right now we blast this fool. Instead of giving them the benefit of the doubt, like, well, he's under investigation, but he might clear it, bro. Let's hope for the best. Let's just worry about whether or not, you know, he's going to come through with it. He's going to provide right. It was all false claims, stuff like that. Instead, oh, he's on freeze? Oh, we might blast this fool. Everybody's mentality runs to that conclusion that we're going to blast this fool. So we got to be on guard right now. We got to watch his every move. We got to make sure. And it sucks, though, because when your cellie gets put under investigation, he's going to tell you whatever he wants to tell you, but you're going to be at that point where, like, you don't believe him because now the household's involved. Now Norteños are threatening to blast you if it comes out that you're in the wrong. So it makes it awkward in the cell. Your cellie's going to have devious plans, and he's going to be real observant, watch your hand moves. And they're going to tell him, they're going to advise him once the dude's placed on freeze, hey, man, monitor your cellie every day. Don't let him go behind the curtains by himself. Watch his hands. If he's packing anything, make sure if he's not grabbing any blades. Don't let him get a hold of anything sharp. So now his cellie has to be on guard 24/7 until this investigation is concluded. So they're going to frisk you damn near butt naked. Then give you your clothes back and escort you to a designated location where you're going to sit there with your hands in front of you. And you can't move. You can't dig in your pockets. You can't reach for nothing. Nobody can stop by the table and talk to you. Nobody can give you nothing. Nobody can pass you nothing. And you will sit there all day room by yourself. You'll be escorted to the shower with 2 postes, 2 posts. And they're going to be watching you shower because they got to make sure you're not dropping nothing. Because I've seen that done too. Dude got escorted to the shower, dropped his piece, didn't drop no feces or make a fart sound. pulled out a banger and removed his SBs before he got removed. Seen it done plenty of times. And during that freeze process, you're going to be questioned every day. Sometimes they're going to ask you the same questions multiple times while they confiscate the wheelas that you gave previous answers to and see if your answers change. And all that information until they can't ask any more questions. They're going to get that information, deliver it to the person that put you under investigation, or if it's under the discretion of the respective household, the authority in charge, he will make the decision. Oftentimes, if there's viable proof, you're going to get blasted. But the reason why they put you on freeze in such a manner is because they want to disarm you and they want to make sure that you have no ability to fight back or respond when they respond. And that's the core part about it, is that people that have been placed on freeze under investigations, whether it was under false claims, under false pretenses, or they were actually in the wrong, most of the time, every time that I've seen people get put on freeze, they got blasted. And they got blasted pretty bad. And then most of the time, the people that ended up on freeze that didn't get blasted, of the percentage that didn't get blasted, found a way to lock it up because of the paranoia. Maybe they did do what they did, they're claiming they did. They were in the wrong and they're not ready to get blasted for it. Or even if they didn't do nothing wrong, it's just been a repeated history of brutal violence that's been instilled on people in this position that you just automatically become scared. Trust me, I've been put on freeze like 3 times. And county jail was the worst ones. And them individuals had me feeling like, man, any moment now. I mean, all they need is a legitimate reason. And not even a legitimate reason. All he has to do is say, man, I blasted him, man. He posed an immediate threat. I don't like the way he was conducting himself. And then there were some cases that I seen that the investigation was still pending. And the SBs, the security blankets, started bombing on him and slicing him up and blasting him because of the way he acted, the way he responded, the way he was argumentative, the way he just was not accepting his conditions, that he was placed on freeze and he had to sit down on a desk or a table or on a bench and watch TV and can't program because they felt like they were being mistreated and outcasted. So a lot of careers have been ruined just by that procedure alone because, like I said, there's a lot of people that don't want to be in that position, don't want to be questioned. And because even if you don't have nothing to hide and nothing to lose and you're not scared of nothing because you know you're in the right, it's the simple fact that you got 2 of your own people, not even a week ago, were shaking your hand, giving you spreads, letting you borrow their books, magazines, talking about their family, showing the pictures they got in the mail. And then the next week, they're right there with 2 razor blades like, bro, if you get up off this bench without permission, I'm going to slice your face open. If you walk up to somebody's door without permission, I'm going to slice your face open. If you do anything, any sudden movements, if you're fidgety, if you look nervous, if you look scared, and we look at it like it's a sign of guilt, we're going to blast you. And we got the green light to blast you and justify it with the household. Because at the end of the day, if the SBs blast you, they're gone. You're gone too because you're the victim. So the reports that they shoot back to the authority in charge says, hey, man, he did this, and so we engaged on him. He posed an immediate threat. We were defending the household. Then the authority in charge can sweep it under the rug like, all right, he's deemed no good, man. He posed an immediate threat. Half the time, those investigation reports that I received from people that got removed and I had to do reviews on them was just simple. Hey, he did this, he did that. This is what happened. This is what he got accused of. He made this move. The SB's blasted him. And now he's it's a form of cowardice and desertion under this bond, And that's it. He posed an immediate threat, and that's it. You can't question nothing because the dude's not there no more. You can't question the SBs because they're not there no more. So you just look at it like, okay, it's another name that you got to add to the B&L list and another dude that's deemed no good over some circumstances that could be changed. So you got to look at the good and the bad. The good is that what that procedure is doing is securing the rest of the manpower and securing the household because safety and security is of the utmost importance when it comes to the Nortenos program. But the position you put people in to make them fear for their lives and make their thoughts grow, because you're in a cell. You're in prison. All you have is your thought box. All you do is think all day about everything. So when you start thinking and you can't stop thinking about it, you're going to overthink. Then you're going to become a critical thinker. And then some people just let their minds get the best of them. And they either engage on their SBs, or sometimes it could be the SBs just being overcritical, over analytical, Oh, bro, he scratched his nose, man. I thought he was pulling the blade out. I sliced his face open. Damn. The SBs ain't going to get in trouble because however they justify, however they write it, they're going to say, we thought he posed an immediate threat or a possible threat, so we engaged. They can't be held accountable for that. They might get cleanup for making a bad judgment call, but more than oftentimes the SBs don't really get reprimanded if they take the initiative or they jump the gun and start slicing somebody because they thought it was a threat. But it puts people in, like, back against the wall, balls to the wall, a dog in the corner. Because all you're thinking now is like, I'm under investigation for these accusations or for these allegations. You're automatically, your mind's going to go like, man, what if happens if they think I'm guilty? Or if I am guilty, what happens? What are they going to do to me if they find out the truth? So it puts everybody in bad positions. But in reality, if you look at it, it's just people preying on their own people. Because everything that I've ever investigated and put people in that same position is because they were accused by another Norteño of something, of some wrongdoing. And half the time, those investigations that I conducted came out inconclusive because it was just hearsay. This Norteño said this about this Norteño. We put him on freeze, investigated it. Nothing came about. We have no choice but to let him program. And now there's bad blood. Now there's animosity. Now the household's looking at this dude like, hey, did you lie on this dude? Did you try to get this dude hit for your own personal gain? Your own hidden agenda? Now he looks bad. But the household can't blast him for false accusations because we don't know if it's false or not because there was no proof. But this homie's going to be walking around with a lot of discouragement because everybody's mind frame tends to change. Oh, he got put on freeze. He was on freeze for like 6 months. But they didn't reach a conclusion, so they have to let him program. Maybe in a couple months, something else is going to come up. We're going to have to blast him later. So you're going to walk around your own people knowing that they would have blasted you at any given moment. For these man-made laws, for these politics, for these bonds, for these formats, for these household policies, for all these rules and regulations that have been incorporated, you were going to get blasted for violating them or for an accusation and allegation by another man's word. There's going to be a lot of discouragement and embarrassment in that man if he's left the program. It destroys a lot of people's conscience. And some people like that end up getting concluded that, he's good to program, don't have the same love and affection that they had for the cause and the struggle and the concept of the Norte as they did before because all they could think about is like, man, all you fools are ready to blast me on some false accusations. Some people just live for the life that they don't even care. And once they start programming, like, yeah, I'm back. I'm homie again, bro. Y'all doubted me, bro. But there's a vast majority of them that get placed in that position that, like, damn, bro, like my people were going to blast me at any given moment, any given second, for any little reason, for something small. Something that could have been a slap on the wrist, 14 days of DP, or some cleanup. They put 2 dudes in front of my face with 2 razor blades, and I'm pretty sure them dudes thought it out in their head. Like, hey, man, what happens if we do this? I'm probably going to grab one. I'm going to slice him. I'm going to rip his face open like the Joker. I'm going to blast him in his ribs, and I'm going to go down for this. This is going to be a badass removal. This is going to be a bad removal. He's going to think like that for a very long time. Because that's how I thought about it when I got put on freeze in county jail multiple times. I was like, man, these fools, like, you try to blast the end soul? Like, you serious? Like, this is going to come back worse on you guys than it is on me. Because I had the backing of the NF back then. But when people get placed on freeze, for anybody that's part of these programs, when you get placed on freeze and your people start to investigate you or look for a reason to blast you or give you a hint that more likely you'll probably get blasted unless you plead your case and you win, you gotta live with that every day, knowing that your people will be quick to blast you in a heartbeat if you mess up. That's the harsh reality about these rules, and that's the harsh reality about prison gangs and calling these dudes your homies and believing in this concept of brotherhood. It sounds good until you mess up. They're gonna love you and show you carnalismo and cariño all day, every day, until you mess up, or until you get questioned, until you get investigated, or you get placed on freeze. You'll be surprised how fast your homies are sharpening weapons and melting plastic and putting a blade on a toothbrush, ready to blast you. As long as it's justified on a piece of paper that you're no good, they're going to forget about that cariño and that carnalismo that they ever showed you in the beginning. they're just gonna look at it like, man, another homie gone. There's gonna be more homies coming back in the penal system we can show love and cariño to. You know, the concept of carnalismo, it sounds good. I believed in it for a very long time. But it deteriorates over time. Once you see everybody's true colors, and once you see how fast people are willing to turn on you that quick, over hearsay, over allegations, over accusations, or because the COC and the authority in charge doesn't want you around anymore. Crazy story, right? So, with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.